So in this video, I'm going to discuss a problem of Codeforces Educational Round 167 Division 2. So this is the C problem of the contest, that is two movies. So let's see the problem here. Okay, so in the problem, a company has released two movies. Okay, two movies has been released. These two movies were watched by n people. For each person, we know their attitude towards the first movie. Either they have like liked it, or neutral, or disliked it. So we know these things. And towards the second movie, so we know what there are like two movies has been released, and we know the like what is the review of the papers toward these movies. Now, if a person is asked to leave a review for a movie, then if that person liked the movie, then we'll leave a positive review and the movie's rating will increase by one. Okay. So the problem is saying that if a person like any movie, so in that case the rating of that movie will increase by one. If a person dislike the movie, then in that case the rating of the movie will decrease by one. Okay. Otherwise, let's say if they will leave a neutral review, then in that case there will be no effect on the rating. So this is the statement till now. Every person will review exactly one movie. So I can like review exactly one. Either I can review the first movie or I can review the second movie. A single person cannot review both movies. Okay. And for every person you can choose which movie they will review. Okay, now it's up to me that I'm going to choose like which movie he's going to review, right? The company's rating is the minimum of the rating of the two movies. Your task is to calculate the maximum possible rating of the company. Okay, so what is the problem is we have two movies. Let's say a movie A, let's say a movie B. A person can do three things. First, either he can like some movie, or he can dislike some movie, or he can neutral. If likes, in that case the rating will gonna increase by one. If dislikes, then in that case the rating will gonna decrease by one. If neutral, there will be no effect, right? Now, what we need to find is we need to find the rating of a company. Let's say RC is a rating of a company. And what is the rating of a company? Basically, minimum of rating of the first movie and rating of the second movie. Okay. So what is the rating of a company? It is a minimum of rating of A and minimum of rating of the second movie. Okay. What is my task? My task is to maximize it. Maximize it. No thing. How can I maximize it? If somehow I can maximize the value, increase the value of minimum of RA and RB. What exactly I mean? If let's say RA is less than RB, so I will try to increase the value of RA by sometimes. Okay? If I'm able to do that, then in that case I'm going to get the max value. If I'm not able to do that, so in that case my answer will be simple minimum of both. Okay? One. So this is the review by five person. First person is reviewing like first movie as neutral, second movie he dislikes. Similarly, second person review as first movie as disliked, and the second movie is liked. Similarly, third and till like the fifth person. Okay. Now what is my task is I can choose a person. He can review like either first movie or second movie. He cannot like review both the movies. So in that case, let's say A is a rating of the first movie, B is a rating of the second movie. Okay. So see, if I do ask the first person, if I do ask the first person, which is like, which you think like I should go with? Either I should ask him to review the second movie or the first movie. In that case, I should ask him to review the first movie. Why? Because he reviewed it as a neutral. So in that case, there will be no effect on my rating. If I go with the negative, so in that case, it will ultimately going to decrease my rating. And the rating of a company is a minimum of the at this. If I'm going to do this, so the rating of the company will gonna decrease. So I cannot do this. Okay. Now, so I will go with the max. I mean zero. And now I will go to this task. Now here, what should I choose? Simply go with the one to maximize the minimum value. Okay? Similarly, if I go here, so what should I choose? Similarly here, one, because the max value among them 10 is one. If I found the neutral value, so for this the case will be different. But in this case, if I found 0 0, I can add any of them. There will be like no effect. Okay? Let's say if I have 1 1, now the rating will cut, and now this is the current rating, and it was like previously. Now the rating is 1 1. How can I like add this? At this point of time, both the ratings are same, so I can, if I add any of them, it will not affect anything. So simply add it to this and this. Now minimum of both is one. So this is my like rating of the company. So this is how the cases are like asked. Okay? So in that case, the rating of a company is what, one. Okay. So what is the approach to the problem? Let's say it here. So the possible combinations of 0, 1 and minus 1 are these. Okay? So these are the possible combinations of 0 and 1 and minus 1. Okay? Now at what combination, what the character I'm going to choose? Let's see. If I found 0 1, which is suitable to choose? 1 here, 0. We know that we need to maximize the minimum value. If I do maximize, let's say the minimum value occurs at this point of stage. Okay? Now here I need to add like 0 to the minimum value, and here I can add 1 to the max value. Will max value affect anything? No. So I can add simply 1 to the max value and my minimum value remains the same. So in that case, I can simply choose 1 with no problem. And similarly here, I can choose 1 with no problem. And then what I meant to say is, if let's say A is greater than B, then simply increase the rating of A. If B is greater than A, simply increase the rating of B. Simple. Okay, so till now it is clear. Now here between 0 and minus 1, I can select 0. Here between 0 and minus 1, I can select, just a second. Right. Okay. Now between 0 and minus 1 here I can select 0. Between minus 1 and 1 I can select 1. Between 1 and minus 1 I can select 1. Now the problem starts from here. What is the problem? First of all, see, if I found 0 0, I do add like, do I can add any to, it will not affect anything because simply adding 0 it will not gonna do anything. So forget it. Okay. Now between this you can simply neglect it. Okay. If I reach this space 1 1 and minus 1, so what will happen in this case? I can add 1 to any of this. Okay, I can add, but will it like affect anything? Yes. How? I will like always supposed to increase my minimum value. Suppose my minimum value is minus 1, my max value is 1. If I do add 1 to the 1, so it will become 2, but my minimum value will not change. Okay? So I will always try to add. If I found 1, then I will always try to add it to my minimum value, not the maximum value. So from there, I can observe one thing. Okay, if I found 1 1, then go and add it to the minimum value. If I found minus 1, so simply do the opposite. Simply, I don't want to like minimize the value of my minimum value. So I'm going to add this minus 1 to the maximum value. Okay, okay, okay. So till now, I think it will look clear. Like if I found A is greater than B, then simply go with A, add the rating to the A thing. If I found B is greater than A, simply increase the rating of B. If I found A equal to B, and where A can be minus 1 and 1. So in that case, what I can do is simply store how many times minus 1 comes and how many times like ones come, like pairs come basically. How many times the pair of 1 1 comes, how many times the pair of 1 minus 1 comes. Okay? Simply store them. First complete the whole iteration, then at the end, I'm going to, what answer I'm going to get, simply change its value by this. For example, let's see one example here, that is what I told you, like first I found equal to, simply skip it. For now, skip it. Okay. Now I found minus 1 and 1. Uh, Between this, I'm going to increase the value of B. So the value of, let's say A, rating of A, rating of B. Now rating of B is 1, rating of A is 0. Okay. Now I found minus 1 and 1, simply increase the rating of B. Now it will change to 2. Simply I found 1 1, so simply skip it for now as well. Okay. Now what I can do is simply take two variables. First, for to handle like minus, so let's say I can take a variable as minus. If I found this pair, I'm going to increase the value of this minus variable. If I found this pair, then I'm going to increase the value of plus variable. Okay? Now I reach the final condition, this one. Okay? Now I have 0 and 2. When I found plus, what I will always try to, I will always try to add this value to my minimum value. I found plus here one time. Okay? I will try to add this value to my minimum value. So if I do add this, so it will become 1 2. Okay. Now I need to assign handle this minus as well. Now the value of minus is 1. Okay? When I found minus, then what I will try to add it to the maximum value. So I will try to add it to this and will make it 1. So in that case, my rating of A and rating of B is equal. So in that case, my answer is 1. So I think now it will be clear to you. What we need to do is simply first of all take the values where A is not equal to B. Okay? And once you calculate for the everything the final answer, now it's time to calculate the value when A is equal to B. And if it is minus 1, simply take a variable minus and increase its value. If it is a plus 1, simply take a variable and increase the value by 1. Okay? And at last, what you need to do is simply the answer you find. Okay? Rating of A and rating of B you will going to get. Now, if you find plus, simply add it to your minimum value. If first take the input. Now, if I found AI is greater than B of I, simply increase the rating by A of I. ठीक है? If I found B of I is greater than A of I, simply increase the value of B by B of I. ठीक है? Now, at last, if I found the last case, that is, if A of I equal to, मतलब both are equal, A of I equal to B of I, and A of I equal to 1. So in that case, I'm taking a variable as plus and increasing its value. If I found A of I equal to minus 1, B of I equal to minus 1, in that case, I'm taking a variable and increase the value of minus by 1. ठीक है? And at last, I'm going to handle plus and minus. How? If I found A is greater than B, and the value of, I know that negative values I want to add to the max values. So here the max is A, so I will simply, to neutralize, I will simply subtract it by 1 until I make the minus 0. Similarly, if B found greater, then I'm going to decrease by 1. Okay? If I found the plus value, then I know that I need to increase the minimum value. So in that case, if A is less than B, I'm going to increase the value of A, else I'm going to increase the value of B. And at last, I need to return